Toto, where are you going?
I am even.
You can't leave, we have to film a stinger. My name is GiBi, there's no Toto here today, and welcome to the Horror Homestead. In this series, we're breaking down all the different stories in the Five Nights at Freddy's Fazbear Frights series of fiction novels. I'm currently a believer in the Frights fiction fan theory, which states that all these stories are in-universe stories told by Fazbear Entertainment in order to obfuscate their horrific past. In each video, we're going to summarize, analyze, and theorize about a story in this series, and in this video, we're doing that. We're now... or I guess I should say I'm now, because Toto's gone, talking about the 7th book in the physical Fazbear Frights series, The Cliffs, and its Stitchwraith Stinger Epilogue. We are picking up right where the last one left off. Of course, yeah, that's about right for today. We're picking up right where we left off, with Detective Larson being snuck up on by the Afton amalgamation, which is a pile of trash. It's actually all like the detritus from the other stories, like the Foxy from Step Closer and the Elidol. They've all formed together in this big robot rabbit, piloted by the man in room 1280 himself, Willie Afton, and he's lurching toward Detective Larson. And the cliffhanger was that Larson wasn't going to see it in time, so now we're kind of picking up with that. Before we actually continue, I want to say that the font in this story is smaller than it should be. It's smaller than all the other stories, probably because this passage is really long and they had to like fit a page limit or something, but okay, it's whatever, it's just smaller. So Larson, even though the Afton amalgamation is behind him, hears it and he runs outside. He goes to the lake that's outside the warehouse. Jake sits up, back in control of the Stitchwraith, and even though he can't see Larson, he knows he's nearby and he knows he's in trouble. He could hear the clanking, thumping, and clattering of metal latching onto metal. The rest of his awareness, however, came from something he didn't understand. He just knew the detective was nearby and in terrible danger. That's the field, baby! That's actually just the field! Afton's amalgamation is able to attract all this metal towards it like a big magnet, so Jake, because he's in the Stitchwraith, is getting like sucked towards him. Later in the story, they're going to drive like a forklift into him, and it also just kind of gets sucked into the robot. So Jake sees what he describes as like a girl robot also being sucked towards the Afton amalgamation, and he calls out like, "I can help you," but then she starts crawling towards him like an evil angry spider or something. The book never tells us what this evil girl robot is, but it's Eleanor, duh. Why doesn't she look like Sarah? I don't know. Eleanor tackles Jake to stop him from stopping Afton, and Jake looks into her eyes, and we're told Jake felt the same evil he'd fought in the trash compactor, only this evil felt stronger, like it was the core of what Jake had sensed in the things Andrew had infected. This is so ambiguous that it's maddening, Scott. Eleanor is the same evil that he fought in the trash compactor, which was William. So, Scott, are you saying that Eleanor and William are the same person? Or are you saying that the thing they are is the same? They're both pure evil. They're both pure agony beings. Saying only this, like, evil but stronger makes me think it's the second one. They're both the same kind of thing. But then adding that it's the core of the things Andrew infected, the core of the things that Andrew infected was William, because William and Andrew were like globbed on together or something. Because Andrew was possessing William, and then I guess William was possessing the things Andrew was possessing? Like, not even possessing, like maybe infecting? So the William that was infecting the things that Andrew was infecting was Eleanor? So is Eleanor William? Is Eleanor a manifestation of William's agony? Or is she the core of William? Or is she just a similar being to agony? Basically, is William piloting the amalgamation, and Eleanor is a manifestation of his evil, so it'd be like, if he's a big monster, and then she's like his heart, or his soul, or his core, or something. Or is she piloting everything, and the agony is just birthed from all the things that William did bad in his life? So she's controlling it, and the Afton amalgamation is just kind of like her puppet. Is it two partners where William is the master, or is it Eleanor is like a brain controlling the big rabbit trash? I don't know, except Larson says that the amalgamation exudes William Afton's unmistakable energy, whatever that means, which makes me think it's more like a partner thing. Eleanor steals Remnant from Jake like she actually heals her metal, which Remnant can do, as shown in the 4th closet. It's possible that this happens in the games, although we've never seen it happen in the games. Afton's amalgamation slaps Larson, and he goes flying into a wall, and he passes out. He comes to, and he hears children whispering in his mind. They tell him to hurry, like he has to run away, and to open his eyes, because he's passed out on the floor, and Afton is coming after him. Afton then comes after him, slashing his stomach open with one of his sharp metal hands. Larson gets up and runs away, bleeding. He finds the evidence bag that he brought with him, he hears whispering from inside of it, and he pulls out, pause for effect even though we totally already predicted what it was, he pulls out the puppet. It's the puppet because it has tear-stained eyes and black and white striped arms, so it's the puppet from the games. Disturbingly, he could hear the mask's intent in his head. It felt like he was receiving the download of a single thought. Take me to him. This is when Larson attacks Afton with a forklift. Afton absorbs the forklift, and Larson is like, oh no, I have to stall so that the puppet can do puppet things. And then we get the worst line of dialogue that Scott Cawthon has ever written. Afton, Larson asked, that is you in there, isn't it? Though I'm not sure what to call you now. Afton's amalgamation glared back at the detective, repositioning his pieces so he stood taller and broader on the end of the dock. The loathsome atrocity that was William Afton announced in such sonorous tones that the dock juddered. I am agony. No, Scott, no, that's bad creepypasta dialogue, Scott. You just posted cringe on main, Scott. Agony is capitalized, like real is capitalized in the Velveteen Rabbit, because maybe agony makes you real. Agony is capital A evil. He's not just William, he's agony. He am agony. William hurt so many kids that he is the core of agony, except Eleanor's the core of agony. It's whatever. Jake finishes wrestling Eleanor, and she slinks away. The story cuts between Jake and Larson a lot in this final battle. So then the puppet flies into Afton, it tears him apart, it rips all the pieces of metal from him, and then the amalgamation collapses into junk and oozes a strange substance that we should now be familiar with enough to know that it's agony. All the pieces of what used to be Afton's amalgamation sink into the lake. The last thing to fall is the puppet's mask, having done its job, finally finishing off Afton. If the tangled blob from Security Breach ends up being the Afton amalgamation, which would be why the puppet is part of it, and also all these other parts, and also a Funtime Freddy mask, which is not the same as Molten Freddy because it's not melted, then, like, that would mean that the story is kind of canon, but also how does it get from this lake near this warehouse in the out-of-stock town and get all the way to the Pizzaplex? I don't know. It just seems kind of silly to me that all these people would be in the FNaF 6 fire and then taken, like, to security lockup and, like, a warehouse and, like, a hospital, and then all meet up at a random lake, and then from that lake go back underneath the FNaF 6 pizzeria. It just seems like that is unlikely, and probably not what happens in the game continuity. Sorry. Jake goes and cauterizes Larson's wound. He also feels like Afton had put some agony into the wound, so that's burned away, thankfully. Jake then runs away to find Eleanor, thinking to himself that Afton's will was so weak that he wasn't actually controlling the amalgamation. This other force, Eleanor, was. So did the puppet really kill William, or would he have fallen apart since Eleanor ran away? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I think what it's saying is that Afton's will controlled the thing, but that it needed Eleanor to, like, sustain it with agony life force. I think that's what it's saying. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense, we just don't know how it works. Analysis. This story is just like a lot of action. We can theorize about the child whispers and the agony and stuff, but the best kind of stories usually have a double climax. Double climaxes were popularized and used to great effect in Sherlock Holmes stories. So, like, imagine a Sherlock Holmes mystery, and you enter into the climax where there's, like, a shootout or a buggy chase on horses, and the mystery man is getting away, and Sherlock defeats him with a trap or something, and then they unmask him. That's the action-packed climax. And then afterwards, Watson sits down with Sherlock and asks him what happened, and Sherlock explains all the clues and how he solved them and what it all meant and what the bad guy's motivation was. So there's the action climax, and then the explain stuff climax. Harry Potter famously does this as well. Big battle stuff happens, but you don't really know what's going on. The stone just appeared in Harry's pocket. The sword just appeared out of the hat. And then Harry defeats Voldemort, and then he wakes up, and then Dumbledore's there, and Dumbledore's like, here's what actually happened. So this is the big, violent, action-packed climax, but without any explanation. When will that explanation come? If at all? I don't know. I think being left with this is kind of lame, because William just died again, I guess. The Chekhov's puppet was just used, and now the story is Jake chasing Eleanor. I guess if I didn't already know that Eleanor was coming back, this would have been a cool reveal, but I would probably just be like, really? Eleanor is now the main villain? Eleanor from To Be Beautiful from all the way back then? Like, really? That's where we're going with this? The robot that tricked a little girl, she's, like, now worse than William Afton? So, I don't know. I just don't think this was a very satisfying ending. Not ending, but, like, place to end. There should have been the talky, explainy climax. Now that Larson was helped by the Stitchwraith, maybe they'll, like, buddy up and be partners now. Is Larson an Andrew parallel? He's gonna be partners with Jake? Is Larson the vengeful spirit? Alright, now let's talk about the entire books. The Cliffs. It was very disappointing. I didn't like it. I was so hyped off of Blackbird that we were going to be getting more mature stories, and then Hide and Seek kind of dashed those hopes, and then The Cliffs threw it off a cliff. There's not even like a coherent uniting moral to the stories in this book. The back cover says, "Some things must be learned the hard way. But in the malevolent universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, there's always an education in pain." Did Robert really need to learn a lesson after his wife died? Like another lesson after losing his wife? Did he have to be put through the pain of his kid going missing to the point where he almost kills himself? What lesson does Reed learn by getting killed by his bully? What lesson does Chris learn by being cloned by Fazgoo and then dying? Like, this is not even close to like a uniting theme that actually connects all the stories together. The Cliffs and He Told Me Everything, you could say that the moral is to like be okay with what you have, be satisfied and appreciative with the things that you have. You get the two extremes. You get Robert, who lost everything, has basically nothing, and it still has to be like, you know, what I have left is enough. And then you get Chris, who is given like a normal amount of things but doesn't appreciate it, and he could be like, you know, what I had was enough, and I don't need to like reach out and take advantage of people. But the Breaking Wheel doesn't have anything like that kind of moral. I'm not even sure what the moral of the Breaking Wheel is, besides like, don't get revenge, don't be a bully, if you mess up, tell people. There's no antagonistic force in The Cliffs because the bear was actually trying to help them. Robert is just sad. The antagonistic force in the Breaking Wheel is the robot agony bully that kills Reed, but Reed that caused it to happen. And the antagonistic force in He Told Me Everything is an evil science teacher. I'm struggling to fit these three things in together. There's nothing uniting these stories, and I'm gonna be so honest, I wish I could erase The Cliffs and He Told Me Everything from the series. They are just two of the worst stories. But I guess if I have to take this book as a package deal, it is worth keeping them if we get to keep the Breaking Wheel. My current tier list is S. The Real Jake, The Breaking Wheel, The New Kid, Count the Ways. A. Fetch, Coming Home, In the Flesh, 1:35 a.m., Blackbird. B. Out of Stock, Into the Pit, The Man in Room 1280. C. Bunny Call, Dance With Me, Step Closer to Be Beautiful. D. Room for One More. F. The Cliffs, Hide and Seek, Lonely Freddy, He Told Me Everything. We're more than halfway through the series now, and I really hope that the epilogues pick up. Now that all the characters are like in their positions and like know each other and know what's going on, have relationships with one another, Larson and the Stitchwraith are like buddies now. We know that Eleanor is the big bad. I hope that they become more satisfying. This one kind of sucked. Like, think about it like this. The bad guy in this story so far is a villain that was not even properly set up within the continuity of these books. He's a character from another medium, not even part of this series. He's then defeated by a character who the characters in this story don't even know. The real bad guy is a side character who appeared once without any explanation, and now the two main characters have to go and deal with that. Like, that kind of storytelling just sucks.
I know how to defeat you, Yavelbach. I, Clifford, the big red dog's head, whose origin story is in the Absurds episode about collections and not in the FNaF video, have learned that the secret to defeat you, the Yavelbach, introduced in the Absurds video about the Yavelgoat, is to dip you in water and put out your fire for good. Silly goat. Nay is for horses.
Clifford, did you move? What are you doing? Do you know where Toto went?
Yeah, I do. What's in it for me?
I'll give you a speaking role in the next book.
Not good enough.
And a treat.
That's more like it. Yeah, he went to Japan.
Japan? Don't really look anything like my passport photo anymore, so I guess the first thing that has to go is the beard. First the beard goes, and then we goes. We goes to Tokyo's. Clifford, why do you have my cup of water on the floor? You have no idea the lengths I went to find you.
And he just asked where he's.
Yeah, you used my credit card, and then I just asked where the puppet was staying.
Why did he come here?
No, why did you come here?
I needed to see something beautiful to remind me why we live.
Toto, that's actually a very beautiful statement. I just wish your voice wasn't really annoying. Why are you in Japan?
There is a shower here in Seattle, a pretty shower. I thought maybe if there was another me out there, it might be a better shower.
Yeah, I know you want to learn about what you are, but why'd you have to cross the ocean to get here?
I want to see the cherry awesome cherry. He's my favorite color.
No, it's not. Your favorite color is green. Oh my god, Bear. You're Two Hat Mikey.
I am me.
That was Two Hat Mikey I was talking to. You let him control your body.
I gave him my body in henceforward interest to how I am highly.
Toto, you're alive because people believe in you or something. What did he tell you?
He made me come to Japan.
Okay, why did Two Hat Mikey want to come to Japan?
He needed to cross the international date line.
Okay, so I actually have a really hard time with time zones. I have to ask my brother, Dr. Professor Steve McDykel, about them all the time. What?
I'm so hard lucky to everything.
So Two Hat Mikey had to exist in a different day than this Shadow Bonnie character so that he could be free from his influence. Because Shadow Bonnie can't change time zones, but he's trying to learn how to do it, which is why he gave you bunny ears, because you were planning on visiting your sister Bonnie Jean. And if you, wearing the bunny ears, travel to a different time zone, that would give the data to Shadow Bonnie so he can do it himself. And in order to get to you, he first mind-controlled Clifford with bunny ears, but then you took yours off, and you took Clifford's off, and that removed Shadow Bonnie's power over you, so he faded, but he wasn't destroyed, and he can easily come back, and he's growing stronger the more people who put on bunny ears. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's time I had a chat with Two Hat Mikey.
How?
I need an unwilling volunteer. By which I mean someone who's already wearing a hat. You want to go up to my room?
I thought you'd never ask. I see you have learned the truth from Toto.
You're using him to fight Shadow Bonnie or something, but what does this have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's, Fazbear Frights No. 7, The Cliff's Stitchwraith Stinger?
Toto is a manifestation of the love people have for FNaF. But however, there is a dark side to that as well. The hatred and anger people have when discussing lore and theories. It is all the same.
Toto's born from people's friendly, respectful engagement, discussion, and discourse? Because it yields a Freddy and Toto is a Freddy?
And the opposite of that is hatred, agony. I am a being who only exists when certain people wear two hats.
Because wearing two hats means doing two jobs at once.
My two hats are explaining the lore and keeping dark forces at bay, When you and Toto put on a second hat, you explain the lore and become me. This schlub, well, he must have been keeping dark forces at bay, but when you put this second hat on him, he became me.
What dark forces does this guy keep at bay?
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day.
What dark force was following Toto?
There are two dark forces following Toto. One that wants to destroy the world, and one that wants to rule the world.
Okay.
One is the manifestation of the agony of the Yavelbach.
The Yavelbach, that thing I made a video about one time that people need to watch to understand the lore. Sweden's hottish tradition.
Yes. And the other is a being made of agony.
Like from Five Nights at Freddy's.
He comes from another dimension.
Oh, okay. I guess.
And he wants to grow his influence and power so that he can make everyone like him, and then he can rule everywhere.
What does this have to do with time zones?
Time zones are the only thing this being can't break through. That's why we came here, to escape him.
We have to go home. We can't stay in Japan forever. I have a dog who needs walking. His name's Clifford.
You shouldn't risk it.
But what if we can defeat him? What if we can lessen all of the amount of agony in the world by reading the FNaF books?
That might work, but only if you can come to a satisfying conclusion.
That's impossible.
I know, right?
But if we have to try, we will.
I've seen into Toto's mind. He is susceptible to this being of agony. It won't be easy to protect him.
I'll do my best. Thank you, Two Hat Mikey. I hope I never see you again.
I should be going. What? Who are you?
I'm GiBi.
What the fuck?
So I spoke to Two Hat Mikey, and he said that to defeat Shadow Bonnie and for you to see your sister again, we need to come to a reasonable consensus about the books and bring peace to the FNaF community.
So we are limit.
Maybe, but I think there's something that me and you can do that can bring a little more joy into the world.
What?
Let's go on a fun vacation!
Freddy Fazbear Pizza. Freddy Fazbear Pizza. Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria. Andrew is the vengeful spirit, yeah. Cassidy, she don't mean nothing no more. In the Flesh is the best book on the earth, cause it made Matthew Patrick give birth. You can point yourself to Locker 14 to prove the vengeful spirit is Cassidy. But just look at Man in Room 1280. Andrew's right there on page number 18. Can't wait to meet you, to join the animatronic family. We open real soon. Do your best to hold on to sanity. Scott Cawthon is the greatest writer on earth. He makes Tolkien look like a worm. So let's party and let's party again. Cause Chica is William Afton.
This is the Country Bear Jamboree backstage area, so like these are their dressing rooms. We have Yoga Bear. See that? We got Henry. He's one of the bears. Bear and his pal Sammy. Suspicious. And then we have Oscar, Tennessee, Ted, Zeb, Zeke, and star billing at the very top. You got Fred. He's a big one with the paw print next to his name. You got Fred the bear. Yeah, I don't know, guys. bunny. The bonnets. Literally bonnets. Seeing a lot of stuff over here.
'Cause I'm tired of living alone. I'll be carried to the view till tomorrow.
Glad Toto wasn't here to see that. He hates tornadoes.
My poor darling alone, with the cold prison bars all around me.
No rocks.
And my head on a pillow of stone. Now if I had wings like an angel, over these prison walls I would fly. And I'd fly to the arms of my poor darling. And there I'd be willing to die.
You know, Toto, when we get home, Shadow Bonnie's gonna try to corrupt you again.
I versus him now.
Which means no more Shadow Bonnie, no more 2-Hat Mikey, no more sneaking out, no more emailing my brother behind my back.
And now the singing bunny machine.
Yeah, you can't visit your sister for the same reason I can't visit my brother. It's not safe.
Do he want to talk about it?
No. I did call Clifford, though, and he said that he defeated the Yavel goat by dipping him in a cup of water to extinguish his fire.
But that sounds like it's probably made a really slow motion splash.
I bet it did.
Things are happening.
It really is beautiful.
So beautiful, I wish I didn't see in black and white.
What? I'm just saying, how can you have a favorite color if you can only see in black and white?
Yes, just vibes.
Bears can see in color, though.
Not very out loud.
That's fair. How come sometimes when you talk, you speak, like, forward backwards, but then sometimes you speak backward backwards?
I have a speech impediment.
Alright. Well, Toto, I'm just glad that this adventure resolved a lot of the running plot lines in our lives with satisfying answers, although it also left a lot of dangling threads we can pull on in future if we ever want to. Right now, though, we just get to sit back, read some books, and relax. Hello? I am you from an alternate dimension. You can tell my timeline is dark because of my goatee and bald head. You need to come with me right now. It's very important. The research they're doing at Canebrake could spell doom for the entire multiverse. Nope. We need to defeat Paradox. Not doing that. What do you mean? No, like for realsies. It's good to be back. Next, Gumdrop Angel. Thank you for watching. Be sure to be nice to each other in the comments, consider supporting the creators you admire, never lose sight of the things that are most important to you, and remember that FREDDY stands for Friendly, Respectful Engagement, Discussion, Discourse, Yields Success. I would like to thank my May patrons: Brandon, Lauren V, Morgan, Nan, Scott, Sophie, Suka, and Wooly, as well as Billy, Chemicon, Klaus, Eliza, Halmar, Johnny the Night Guard, Kira, Lauren R, Rhiannon, Rose, Sebhar, Thamagata, World's Greatest Bard, Ya Boy Peachy, and Zany Face, along with Emily, Gremlin, HHD, Jinx, Jose, Kenneth, Mustard Shirt Guy, Rolo, and Riley, as well as Jojo, Ray, and Jeannie. I would also like to thank my night guards. Those who made it to night 1, Haley, Sophie, Poppy, Bob, Theory Chum, Riley, JT Kelly, Golden Productions, Louie, and Jackie. Those who made it to night 2, ya boy Peachy. Those who made it to night 3, Just BKZ, and The Moving Marker. And those who made it to night 4, Ice Mint. If you want to support the channel, a link to my Patreon is in the description, as are channel memberships.